Deputy President Kindiki has defended President William Ruto against online critics mocking his knowledge of roads in Mandera and Isiolo counties. Speaking on Tuesday, Kindiki dismissed the viral criticism, stating that the ongoing construction of the 750-kilometer Isiolo-Mudagashe-Elwak-Mandera road will be completed by 2027. He criticized netizens for making uninformed, disparaging comments, noting that many lacked knowledge of the towns they were mocking. Kindiki emphasized that the road project will boost economic development in the region. His remarks came amid online backlash over the president's unique style of naming roads during a public appearance.
But because the person making just ako kwa simu hapo ajui Samata ni wapi, ajui Kotulo ni wapi, ajui sijui ni wapi, so anafanya mzaha. And you know, when 2027 comes and we go to account, we will use that road from Isiolo to Mandera.
Juja Member of Parliament George Koimbure spent the night at the Kamakunji police station after he was whisked by detectives attached to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations for utterances he made against the government. Speaking outside the DCI headquarters where he had been held for grilling, a host of his allies led by Makueni Senator Danson Manzo termed Koimbure's arrest and charges leveled against him as frivolous and accused the state of weaponizing the DCI against his critics. According to the lawmakers, the arrest is an attempt to intimidate Koimbure after the loss of a Kenyan candidate in the African Union Commission chairperson election.
We have declined to record any statement, and therefore we have elected to remain silent. Most importantly is that he is being charged with offenses under the Cyber Crimes Act. He said that his utterances, the verbal utterances, amount to the violation of Section 22, which deals with the data violation.
I think Raila's defeat at the AUC imeuma watu sana, kwa serikali imewauma, and that's why they are now taking every single opportunity that they have to try to harass a member of parliament. A member of parliament is given an opportunity by the constitution to oversight, to represent, and of course to come up with laws.
The Juja lawmaker Koimbure, a vocal government critic, had recently alleged that the government spent 13 billion Kenya shillings campaigning for Raila Odinga during the African Union Commission elections. He was apprehended shortly after leaving his residence on Kenyatta Road in Juja, where he claimed to have noticed two Subaru vehicles stationed outside his home. According to the MP, DCI officers apprehended him and drove him along Kiambu Road. Speaking from the floor of the National Assembly, the members of Parliament have mounted defense on President William Ruto's decision to support Raila Odinga for AUC chair seat as they castigated dissenting voices rejoicing on the Kenya's historic loss on the invested campaign. Led by the majority party leader Kimani Ichung'wah, the MPs have asserted that Odinga was a deserving candidate given his experience on diplomatic and international issues.
Prime Minister Raila Odinga did not run for chairmanship of AU under the instigation of William Ruto. Prime Minister Raila Odinga chose to run as chairperson of AUC, of the African Union Commission, on his own volition, because he is a Kenyan and an African statesman who deserved that position. President William Ruto did not choose to support Prime Minister Raila Odinga because he was his competitor in the last elections or because they have served in ODM together. You know, President William Ruto is a founder member of ODM. He chose to support Prime Minister Raila Odinga as a deserving Kenyan and African statesman.
On his part, Minority Leader Junet Mohammed has described as unpatriotic leaders who have been celebrating Odinga's loss after campaigning for his downfall from the onset of the AUC campaigns last year in August.
That was happening at the African Union, and some of the Kenyans became so unpatriotic and supporting a candidate against Kenya, Mr. Speaker, and even campaigning for him openly in the social media, in all kind of sphere, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I cannot be so unpatriotic. If today a Kenyan of any color, any race, any religion, any creed comes out to contest for an international position, Mr. Speaker, I will support. In the spirit of being a Kenyan, Mr. Speaker, that's all. The first thing that we need to look at is being a Kenyan.
With a blame game on who and what made Odinga lose the election of the African Union Commission chairperson seat, a section of civil society groups that monitor the AU elections in Addis Ababa have urged political players to instead focus the positive emanating from the race. According to the Observer Group led by Suba Churchill of a Kenya National Civil Society Centre, they urged Kenyans to reject calls for Kenya to withdraw from the African Union over dominance from the Francophone nations.
We want to believe that the outcome of the polls would be used to critically examine, some of our own internal and external processes, and that it should not be used to sow divisions among us, because this was a continental process in which Kenya as a country was the candidate.
We fronted a strong candidate who stepped forward, and we are supposed to congratulate him. I think it is not right for anybody trying to castigate, anybody trying to, look down upon the Right Honorable Raila Odinga for having stepped forward to represent us as a country.
You don't get out of a marriage just because someone made bad food in one evening. And this is the story of international politics. Once you're part of a union, you're going to have to fight within it. Because if we are to establish a different outfit, how is that going to look like?
And across borders, South Korean President Yoon impeachment trial is nearing its conclusion, with the lawyers of parliament warning that he could impose martial law again or undermine constitutional institutions if reinstated. The trial followed his brief imposition of martial law on December 3rd, which lasted about 6 hours before being revoked. Parliament argues that Yoon's actions were unconstitutional, while the president maintains that the decree was justified due to political deadlock and threats from pro-North Korean forces. The Constitutional Court will soon decide whether to permanently remove him or reinstate him with a new election required if he's ousted.
Pearl Radio, the home of fresh and classic hits.